Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to my channel, The Great Awareness. I hope that you are evolving, you are good, and everything is well with your soul. So today I wanted to just touch on a little bit about, so I love, I've always had an interest in the Bible verse with regards to Eve and Adam and what, happened in the garden, right? I know there's a lot of people that have a lot of analogies, a lot of explanations surrounding that, right? So what I was very much interested in, or what God has really been speaking to me about for the last few years, is how the snake deceived Eve, right? And the question that I had in my mind was, what happened to them, right? They couldn't see that they were naked before the whole thing happened, and now they could see. And for the longest time, I was thinking that it is because their physical eyes opened and they lost their spiritual eyes, right? But then last night, as I was sitting in prayer, the Spirit, a Holy Spirit actually whispered to me and said, the reason that Eve, they both could see themselves was that they actually opened the third eye, right? And that's when they could see that they were naked. They could see, it even went as far as to say they could see that there was, not that there was something missing with them before, but there was no covering anymore, right? So their nakedness was that they were not covered anymore with God's presence and with God's grace, and everything and anything was able to see them, right? Was able to see them. So even if it's a bad spirits, we're able to locate them, we're able to see them because the covering had left them. They had fell from grace, from what they had before they actually the whole conversation happened with the snake and the eating of the apple, right? And that was it, like opening your third eye. And I've seen people say that it is very dangerous to do that because you really open up your spirit to other spirit things, because we think that the spiritual, when somebody hears a spiritual world, opening your third eye and being able to see more than what you were able to see before then, you forget that the spirit world is actually not only good, but it's also bad. And when you open yourself up, you open yourself up to everything. And so the covering of God moves away from you, right? And you have to find other things to cover yourself with, when in actual fact, you had everything. You had everything. Eve and Adam had everything. They didn't have to work for nothing. They had everything they needed under God's covering. But after that, they realized they were uncovered, and then they were roaming around the garden, finding leaves, finding things that God gave to them to cover themselves, when in actual fact they didn't even need that in the beginning if they had listened to what God has said. So eating the apple to me also represents the knowledge that is being spread right now, saying that we have been lied to, we have been deceived, and this is the truth. And then you are given the apple to eat. Once you agree to eat that apple, the covering leaves you. You start to see things that you were not even supposed to be seeing in the first place, and you start to have anxiety and depression over the fact that now you have to cover yourself. So now you are doing it on your with your own understanding. You are leaning on your own understanding of trying to find covering. And that's where now you open yourself up to spirits. Right? You are using leaves. You are looking for something to, you are using crystals. You are using whatever the case may be, something that God already made, something that you did not need before in order for you to be covered. And now you are looking for that because you are using your own strength. Because why? You fell from grace. You fell from grace. So the snake, the knowledge that the snake came with, wasn't good, wasn't necessarily it is a not so it's knowledge that could counter what you know about God, so that the snake can come in, or spirits can come in and deceive you, right? Spirits can come in and defeat you. Right. So, and I understand, I mean, I've also been one of those people that was questioning, oh yeah, but I mean, the Bible is, why is the Bible, why the Bible is the only way that we can access God, right? Why is the Bible? I used to question that myself. The only number one reason why I started to question that was that I let the snake talk to me, just like Eve. I let the snake come in and find out what it is that I know about God, and I let the snake give me knowledge that I didn't know. And this knowledge wasn't necessarily good knowledge. It wasn't necessarily good for me. I mean, it could be good for anybody else, but it wasn't necessarily good for me because the covering was taken away from me, right? And any spirit can attack me. I went through a lot of warfare. Do you understand? But once God still gives us the chance to come back under his covering, he's still there. There's still time for you to go back and ask for God's covering again, right? Because I'm telling you, when you are outside of his covering, there is just so much. You can feel yourself trying to control things, trying to fight things. The burden is so heavy. And God says, my burden is light, my yoke is light. And because I experienced him before this whole situation, I could tell the difference between having God and not having him, having his covering and not having his covering, having his backing and not having his backing, having my own backing, and it is not nice. It is not meant to be that way. That is exactly what the devil wants. That is exactly what the enemy wants, so that you are not able, because he knows that you are not able to fight for yourself, right? So yes, that is the revelation that I got from that, because I had so much interest in what was this thing that actually made them open their eyes. Opening your third eye is not necessarily a good thing. It is not a good thing. You don't need it. You don't need it. You have everything with God. You have everything with Jesus. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for joining me. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope the message was very comprehensive, that it was laid on your spirit. I pray that God ministers it to you more, so that you can understand, from how you understand the word and how you have a relationship with God. And thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.